Hey, have you been trying to get some good, easy tutorials on how to customize your Labubu? Because I sure have. And every one I've seen requires like nail polish and aerosol spray, and I just can't figure that out. It's just too smelly, too stinky, and too toxic. So I decided with my limited knowledge to actually make a totally not scuffed guide on how to touch up, customize, and protect your Labubu. Now you are going to need a few things that I am going to list on the description of this video, but I'm just going to jump right in and show you how. But first we need to prep our Labubu by cleaning. This is a very important step because anything that you seal on will be stuck. So if you have any dirt or fur or debris on it, it's going to ruin your seal and make it look horrible. Now I'm going to use a generic makeup sponge and I'm just going to cut it in half with some scissors. You need to make a smooth surface for your application of your sealant. And you're going to make sure that there's no debris or particles, and you're going to have your hands clean for this. Now that you have your sponges ready, I'm just going to go and shake up my varnish. You need to be shaken up so it's easier to apply on your surface. And just put a few drops in, or as many drops as you need. Maybe I'll add a couple more. And I'm just going to show you here how to, now I'm going to show you how. You need to kind of gently dip your sponge in and spread it to your other side of your sponge. What you're trying to do is you're trying to put a thin layer of varnish on your sponge so that you don't cake your Labubu with too much varnish. Because I've noticed if you put too much on one sponge and you try to spread it across, it leaves like this very bad blotchy residue and it makes it shiny. So what you want to do is you add a little bit. Just a nice smooth layer that's not too thick. And if you find any debris or dust, you can always just remove it out with like a needle. And what you want to do on your Labubu is gently tap it on. And if there's any like excess that you've noticed, like it's too shiny, you can always go on the dull blank side of your sponge. Well, not blank, like the dry side of your sponge, and blend it in, kind of like blending in your makeup or foundation. But you want to just spread that out evenly, do light taps all across the face. And if you do feel a little nervous about doing this, you can always practice on the hands and the feet of your Labubu, because you'll be doing the same method with your hands and feet anyway. Just remember, do light taps. Do not do any smearing motions or any side swiping, just very light taps gently on it. Now I did notice a little speck on my face, so I'm just going to quickly take it out with a needle. Just make sure to cover it up again with some more varnish. Now for this method, you are going to have to coat your face multiple times with this because we are doing very thin light layers of varnish, and what we're doing is we're building up a protective layer on top of it. If you don't, you're gonna have some staining issues if you try to paint over your Labubu, or you're gonna get more marks. So you really need to make sure to add at least 4 or 5 layers of varnish. And here I'm just gonna do the feet of the other Labubu because I forgot to show you on my main one. And this is what it looks like when it's all done with 5 layers of varnish on it. And now I'm going to show you how to color match and paint the nose if you have any scuffs or marks on it. Now I'm just going to mix some colors here, but just to keep in mind that I am using water-based acrylics. Don't use oil. Oil can actually eat away at plastic and resin, so just avoid oil at all costs and just use water-based. But now that we have our paint color that we need, I'm just going to dilute it with some Flow Medium. Now I have this because I bought it on sale, so I'm going to use it. But if you don't have any Flow Medium, you could just use water. But you want to make a very thin layer of paint on your nose. So you have to really dilute it here with your water or your Flow Medium or whatever you have. Just make sure it's very watery consistency, almost like a stipple glaze. Once you have the right consistency, you can grab your little Labubu and start painting. Just do very thin layers at first, let it dry, and go over it as many times as you need till you don't see the missing part or the bad scratch or whatever you have on your guy or girl. I mean, for me personally, I went over like 3-4 layers of paint just to really get that color consistent. And if your color is not 100% match, you can pretty much cover up the whole nose if you really want to. And if you do have any splotches or mistakes, you can always go over with a wet Q-tip. Now, if you make mistakes, as long as you have enough layers of varnish, it shouldn't stain your face of your Labubu. You can always wipe it out. Now, if some of your teeth are a little scuffed up or marked, I do have this other Labubu that has some missing parts of paint on it, and I can show you an easy way to fix that up. And again, we are just going to use water-based acrylic paint. We are going to dilute it with some water, or some flow medium, and we're going to go in and we're going to just gently add some thin layers of paint, and we're going to do it over and over and over again until the paint looks consistent with the paint job of the stock teeth. And I am doing a pretty bad job of keeping it within the lines, so I am going to tear a piece of Q-tip apart just to make it easier to get those little smooth edges in. And I'm going to wet this Q-tip, and I'm going to go in and actually clean up my horrible paint job. And seeing as how we've already added a couple of layers of varnish, we don't have to worry about staining our face. And I'm just going to go ahead and go in and just clean up all of my mistakes. And yeah, if you just do a couple layers, it should be fine. There's a lot of teeth that on my Labubu needs to be touched up, so I'm just going to go ahead and speed this up and go over each and every little tooth that has missing parts of paint. Now just remember to do very thin layers, because the thinner the layers, the more it blends in with the stock paint of the Labubu, and you don't have to worry about it looking mismatched. But it is a very tedious task. You might have to go over it multiple times, and you might have to wait for the paint to dry before you can add another layer. But just don't worry too much. Take your time. It's not that difficult, and if you do make mistakes, you can always remove paint. And if you are worried about that little UV line on the teeth, you can always just avoid that part and don't paint over it. I'm gonna be honest, this is looking pretty good right here. Bunch of nice new shiny teeth. Now I'm gonna go back to my other Labubu because I want to show you some easy customizable things you could do with its face without going too extreme, without using any dangerous stuff, just regular paint and some pastels. And here I'm going to use some water-based pastels because again, oil can damage vinyl and plastic, so avoid oil at all costs, please. And I am going to use a makeup blush for application and just a regular Q-tip. Now I got pretty lucky and I didn't need to color match, but if you do need to color match, you can always just mix and match the pastels that you have. And I'm just going to start adding layers of pastel. Since we already sealed the face, we don't have to worry about it staining our Labubu or not sticking on, because regular plastic sometimes it doesn't have enough tack to it. It's too smooth and your colors will roll off. And since we added our varnish on top already, we don't have to worry about that. We can just add and remove as much color as we want without having to worry about that issue. And I'm just going to blend it out, kind of like putting blush on your own face. And once you got your blush to the right color you'd like, you're going to have to seal all of it up again. I know, it's kind of annoying, but I think it is definitely worth it. It pretty much gives you a guaranteed save point, if you will. If you ever make mistakes on your other paint job for your customizing, you can always just wipe it off and you don't have to worry about your pastels being removed with it. Now I'm going to customize my Labubu. I'm going to add some lashes and some freckles, kind of like the chaser Labubu that people get and the Makoko one. And I'm just going to mix up some black and white because my Labubu is gray and I want it to match. I'm going to be honest, I did have some trouble with this, even though it is just, 9 dots and 6 lines. It was very hard for me, so please bear with me. Now, you can use this ball-pointed tool and actually just put little dots on your face, and it'll be a perfectly round dot. Just keep in mind, if you just blob the paint on the face, it will give it a texture. So blob it on a surface first before you put it on the face so you can have a smoother surface of the face instead of having an extra dot that pokes out. Now I didn't like how big this dot was, so I'm going to go over and just clean it up with a wet Q-tip. And since we've already sealed up our blush, it shouldn't get damaged or ruined. And you can just keep erasing over and over again until you figure out what kind of shape and style you want on your customized Labubu. Now I'm not gonna lie, this was for some reason really difficult for me to figure out. I was having a lot of trouble putting little dots in, and I even actually got a smaller tool to put in some dots because I thought this was too big. It didn't match the special brown Labubu that this set comes with. It has like little freckles that have like little tiny dots, but I'm gonna admit right here, the absolute painful struggle I've been trying to actually make these little dots on this face drove me up the wall. I don't know what it is with these little dots, but I just couldn't do it. And I kept going over and over, redoing it. But this just proves how good the seal is of this varnish because it didn't even damage the freaking blush. And if you're nervous about doing your own customization, I mean, look at me. I've failed like 10 times, and eventually I actually got it to work. And I'm just going to go ahead and speed through hopefully, except for that mistake there, speed through my process of putting little dots in. And don't make the mistake I did, because on the other side of this face, I forgot to dab the paint down. So I do have a little bit of bumps on mine. So just make sure you pat the paint off on like your plate or napkin before you apply it to the face, just to have a smoother surface. And now I'm gonna do the lashes like the Makoto, I don't know how to pronounce it, but I want to copy that style. And since I can't draw straight lines, I'm gonna actually use a Q-tip to kind of carve the shape I want. And I even actually took off all of the fluff of the Q-tip to make it even easier line to make. And I'm gonna do that on each side. It's a little bit of a process, but if you're not good at drawing lines like me, this is an easy way to do it. You just carve it out with a Q-tip that's wet. Just make sure you don't go too far and it bleeds it out, but just go a little bit at a time, cut a little bit out. And of course I didn't film it because I'm a silly person, silly little goose. Pretty much my process was get a big line of paint and then you erase it with your little Q-tip and do it over and over again until it looks somewhat decent. And I did have to go over this line again because I did kind of over erased. Just really trying to copy that style that I liked from the actual official Pop Mart doll. Now this is really just up to your skill level. If you can draw straight lines and make a curve perfectly, then this will be a lot easier than what I had to do. But for me, it was a little bit difficult. And I did have to go over and erase the lines over and over again until I got to the right side. And if you get some paint on the eyes, you can just wipe it off with water because it is a water-based paint. And I think that side's looking okay, but I think I kind of over erased the bottom lash. So I have to go over it and repaint it again because I have shaky hands and it's kind of hard for me to figure it out. And I did want to cover up the little edges of the eye so it looks like it's more connected and not just floating. So I am going to go over that little dent, the indent of the eye, and just cover it with some paint. I think that looks good. I'm just going to move on or else I'm going to drive myself insane and I don't want to do that. So I am going to go start on the other side here. And this one, I'm going to try to line it up properly. And this is just the same process of adding a blob of line and cutting it away with a wet Q-tip. And then just do it for each and every eyelash. And you can make as many mistakes as I did. Because honestly, if you added enough varnish, it shouldn't stain it. As long as you clean it in a relatively quick enough time. And even if it does stain it, there are ways to remove stains from your Labubu's face without using any harsh stuff, any harsh chemicals, anything like that. It just takes a lot of time, actually. I could maybe talk about it in another video. Now here's my complete look for the Labubu. Just something simple. Now I know it's not perfect, but it's the best I could do, honestly, for this. And now that I've actually finished painting, we're going to have to go over and seal it with some more varnish. We're going to have to shake up that varnish again, add it into our bowl. We're going to dip our sponges into some varnish and pat it together to get that nice little thin layer. And we're going to pat it onto our face. Just make sure the paint is dry because you don't want to spread the paint around if it's not set in. Now there is a little blob of something. I don't know if it's dust or maybe the varnish coagulated there. But you can simply just take it out with a needle. And you're going to have to go over that spot again with some more varnish and cover that spot up. But I did this a couple more layers, like I think I did 4 more layers of this just to really protect my little Labubu's face. And I did another layer of varnish on the hands and feet because I forgot last time. And that's pretty much it. And here's the before and after. I think it turned out pretty cute. I'm not the perfect artist, and you don't have to be either, but you could try customizing your own. And I definitely hope that has helped. And I do have an eye removal video if you want to check it out. So goodbye.